Hello, this is the presentation for project 2 of the class Advanced JS Programming for Engineers taught by Dr. Dan Ames. And for this project, we have created a web map called Doctrine and Covenants, developed by Herman Dolder and Fidel. The purpose of this class project is to learn how to work with JavaScript and web mapping technologies to build dynamic interactive web mapping applications. We selected the project of mapping the places where the revelations found in Doctrine and Covenants were received. And we built an interactive web mapping application that allows users to explore each event through a map interface and a timeline selector with buttons for years and pop-down for sections. The content in the HTML file are a code, scripts, data scripts, and the OpenLayer JavaScript. This is how the HTML file head looks like, and you will see the three files of JavaScript referred to in the head. This is how the body of the file starts, calling a function called init, and then you will see the labeling called mapa de doctrinas y convenios that are centered, and you will also see a help file which is connected in a link to YouTube, which you can watch later. There is some style added to the text, as you will see now with the table. Now we insert the radio buttons, and you will see input type, radio, name, years, and the buttons are starting from the year 1828, 1829, up to the last year where revelation was given. You have these lines with the input type radio for each one of the years. And at the end, then we go to the selection box by section number, starting with Doctrine and Covenants number 1, number 2, up to number 138, and the official declarations number 1 and number 2. The final lines in the HTML file looks like this. These tables are closed, the divisions, and the body. We decided to use tables, although with CSS there is another way to do the styles and the organization of how the web page will look like. I will explain a little bit about the code JavaScript. There are several functions. This is the function that wraps the coordinates transformation, and it receives a longitude and latitude and returns an easting and northing in Bmap's projection system. The coordinates in Bmaps are different from the geographic coordinates, and this is why we need to make a transformation. This is the init functions executed when the index HTML body is loaded, and it creates a map, loads the basic layer, zooms to an appropriate extent, and adds the control. Please notice the controls for the map, which allow us to adjust the scale automatically, allow also navigation, and a layer switcher. There are some global variables defined in here, which are map and layer section. Map is an open layer map and has to be reachable from different functions. Layer section is the layer that holds the section features and has to exist between load function. And here we have the load function executed by the radio buttons or the drop list. It handles the query of the database, deletes the previous layer, get a list of filter values according to the field and value that it received, creates the HTML code to display in the pop-ups the line and the point features that will show ads them to a new layer, adds the layer to the map, and connects the pop-up features to the point and line features and zooms to the layer. The function on pop-up close is executed every time there is an event that closes the pop-up. This is another function called onFeatureSelect and is executed every time there is an event that selects the points or lines. It creates the pop-up. The function onFeatureUnselect is executed every time there is an event that unselects the point or lines, and it removes it and destroys the pop-up. The data JavaScript file has objects, properties, methods, and functions and global variables. The object is called section and it holds all the information of each of these sections. Each section is an instance of this object and is created using new. This is again the list in the function section to locate the name, year, month, and place, the coordinates, the color, the title, the link to the picture, the description of the revelation, and there is a next function called creaHTML that creates an HTML string to add the pop-ups. It uses the values stored in link, title, description, and picture. creaPoint creates a point feature that can be added to a layer. It uses the values stored in coordinates and color. creaLin creates a line feature that can be added to a layer. It uses values stored in coordinates. This function was created with the purpose of showing places where the objects will be located very close to each other, and there was need for space to highlight the location. The functions filter has the objective of filtering the values of the database according to the field and value it receives, and returns a sublist with all the elements that comply. There is a global variable in data.js which is called listado and is the database of the program. It holds all the 140 section objects which are created and pushed into it. This list is used by the filter function that walks through it and picks the elements that meet certain conditions. Thank you for your attention, and we ask you to visit our site at doctrinayconvenios.info.